This video will show you how to sew the high-quality face mask described at Project PPE for Central Coast. Start by gathering up all of your materials. The elastic for the headband can be the hardest to come by. If it's not available, you might want to use a tie or some other material. Cut a 4-inch long piece of wire for the nose bridge. You want it bendable, but hold a shape. If you can't find a wire, a pipe cleaner can work, or you can even untwist a paper clip. Starting with the pattern that you printed out, fold it along the fold seam. Take a sheet of paper that will be your pattern, fold it in half. Place the folded edge of your pattern into the folded edge of the printed form. Then cut along the selected edge of the printed pattern. Remove the half pattern. Now you have a pattern for cutting your fabric. Now that we have the pattern, we can cut the material. Each of the 4 layers added filtering and alternating grain cut and bias cut. Both makes it stronger and provides even finer filtering. For the 2 bias cut layers, the inner part of the front and the outer part of the back, turn your fabric at a 45. Place your pattern on the original line. Go ahead and mark the outline of your pattern, and then you'll get a chance to cut along the marked line. Carefully cut the fabric along your outline. You've got your 2 bias cut pieces, one for the front and one for the back. Repeat the process with your template for the 2 straight cut pieces. You'll want to mark the end of the seam curve on the fabric, as this is where the end of the seam will stop. Now we have our 4 pieces. The cross cut for the outer part of the back, and the straight cut for the inner part of the back. Followed by the cross cut of the inner part of the front and the straight cut for the very front. Turning these over, we have the 4 layers on the back, which we've labeled as in the drawings. Now we have all our materials. Step 2, sew nose darts on all 4 layers. Take each of the layers and fold them in half along the center seam. Now you can sew each of the nose darts about a 1/2 inch in and 1.5 inches down on each one. These can be chained together one after another to save time and to save thread going from one to the next. Separating these, we're ready for step 3, sew chin seams in each of the 4 layers. Sew from the center line to the bottom of the chin curve, stopping at the mark. Step 4, sew the side darts on the 2 front layers. Set aside the back layers. Open up the layers in the front and fold along the horizontal. You may mark them if you like, or sew across the corner on a triangle to make the dart. Repeat for the other front layer. Repeat the process for the side darts on the other side of the 2 front layers. Step 5. Attach layers A and B to form the front, and layers C and D to form the back. With the front sides of the fabric facing towards one another, sew 1/4 inch down each side to connect the two layers to form one part. Be sure to line up the corners carefully so the two layers in each part align well together. Sew a seam down each side 1/4 inch in from the edge of the fabric to connect the two layers. Set the attached two front layers of the front part out of the way and repeat the process for sewing the layers of the back. Again, placing the two layers face to face, sew the side seams to form the entire back part, still inside out. Now we have both the front and the back parts assembled inside out. Step 6. Form the channel for the nose wire in the front. Turn the front two layers right side out so that
just show both sides of it once you get
the seams are inside.
Put it back together.
Alternate the direction of the two nose darts. Do the same for the front piece.
Go.
Notice how far the nose bridge casing needs to go. The two layers of the front are right side out, but notice we haven't yet sewed the top seam or the bottom. We'll make a little box for the wire bridge about 2.5 inches down on either side and 3/4 inch away from the edge, leaving enough room for the wire and then the seam. Place the wire inside the casement that you've just sewn and pin it in place so that you can sew the seam later. Step 7. Sew the front and back together. Make sure the front of the front part and the back of the back part, the outsides, are facing each other on the inside of the sandwich. Carefully align the corners and the edges, as these are what you're going to sew for the top and bottom seams. Sew the top seam all the way from one side to the other, sealing in the wire nose bridge part. Carefully fit the bottom edges together and sew the remaining portions of the two outside bottom seams. Turn the mask inside out through the edge so the front piece, the face of the front, and the face of the back are now on the outside. Place one end of the longer strap at the top corner between the pieces of fabric. Sew that in tight, double stitching to make sure that it's got a strong hold. Do the same for one end of the shorter strap in the bottom corner. Complete the mask by sewing the loose ends into the corners of the open side, being careful not to cross over either of the straps, top to top, bottom to bottom. There you have it. Mask is done. Be safe.